Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast with the blatant misadvertising there on our thumbnail screen that says we would be here at 12:50 when it's clearly 12:54 and we're just getting started. Thank you to 137 people who stayed waiting. I really appreciate that. But if you ever wanted to get an insight into what I look like when I'm severely hungover, take a screenshot right now. I had a fantastic night, first night away in a long time last night, but I am more delighted to be back here and to be doing a team sheet tantrum with you guys. And I'm going to most likely be doing this on my own because Sir Patrick of Kelly is over at the game. He's in Villa Park at the moment. He was rushing. He was up at something like 3 a.m. this morning to get a bus from Limerick to Dublin to get a flight at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or something like that. And then he was rushing to get to the Sacred Heart to meet Tony Daly for Tony Daly's book signing that was happening there to coincide with the release of his book. As you guys will know, we've had Tony on the podcast recently, and he's just like genuinely is the nicest guy in football. I mean, the guy is what you see is what you get, and just an absolute smashing guy, and hopefully Paddy gets to meet him and has a good catch up with him in person today, because as you guys will know if you listen to that podcast, Paddy and Tony sit very close to each other, and sometimes Tony even sits in Paddy's seat or beside him, and that is as I say, it's been a long time that the two guys haven't got to catch up, so we won't have Paddy in the podcast today. This could be a bit of a tantrum. This could be something that we would need to talk about today, this team sheet, because as it was leaked last night, and I'm going to be really honest, guys, I've seen headlines over the last 24 hours. I haven't seen any context, so please pull me up on anything that I might be misspeaking about in the comments. I'm 100% okay about that. But it was mentioned that Aaron Danks came out or that it's been leaked that Aaron Danks is going to tear up the rule book today, and that John McGinn is going to be dropped, and there's going to be a multitude of changes, not only in the playing staff, but also in the tactics book. And it looks like Aaron Danks is going to take his chance to put an imprint on this team today, because, that's what was leaked last night. I don't really like to see leaks like that. I don't think they really, I'm kind of torn. I don't know, do they really affect anyone, considering that a lot of this I would imagine would have been communicated to the playing staff already? But it's just not a great. It's not great, I think, overall to have some leaks like that coming up. But we will see. We will see once the team is announced in the next 4 or so minutes, and we are just waiting on that. What I do want to do is the wonderful AVFC Stato, as you guys know, does give us stats to play on our preview show. I had them loaded, and I completely forgot to go through them on the last show. So if you guys would indulge me, we're going to have a bonus round of Stato Corner. So thank you once again to AVFC Stato. If you're not following him, you're doing Twitter wrong. He is the source for all things statistical in AVFC land and world. And we're going to have some statistics here on the Brentford game. We're going to quickly go through these before the teams are announced in under 3 minutes. So firstly, Aston Villa have never lost a home league game against Brentford, winning 2 and drawing 5. However, each of their last 4 against them at Villa Park have ended in a draw. London clubs are unbeaten in their last 8 away games against Aston Villa, winning 6 and drawing 2. And since the Villains beat Chelsea 2-1 on the final day of the 2020-2021 campaign. In Premier League history, only at Goodison Park have London clubs won more games than at Villa Park among stadiums outside of the capital, and Aston Villa have won just 2 of their last 8 Premier League home games, keeping just 1 clean sheet in that run. I like this statistic, but only because it just shows how historical, I suppose, our clubs are, and the fact that we've been in the same ground since the year dot, because Everton and ourselves have been in the Premier League or not in the Premier League, but have been in the Football League, should I say, and for such a long period of time, playing at the same ground. So there is a bit of skewing in that statistic, but I like it, and I really like putting it in there because it just shows how historic that those two clubs are, albeit we would like to have a better win rate against London teams when they do come to Villa Park. After winning 4 of their last 6 away games in 21-22, Brentford are yet to win on the road in the Premier League so far this term, drawing 3, losing 2. Only twice in the last 24 seasons have the Bees failed to win any of their first 6 away games in a single league campaign. And Aston Villa are winless in their last 9 Premier League games played on a Sunday, drawn 2 and lost. It seems that we're winless on Premier League games played on any day of the week at this rate. But we've played 9, we've drawn 2, lost 7, and since beating Leicester 2-1 in December last season, the Villains have failed to score in any 3 of their Sunday games so far this term, and we would desperately hope that changes so far. And then Aston Villa have scored just 4 goals at home in the Premier League this season, with just Everton and Wolves netting fewer. All 4 of the Villain strikes have come via different players: Ings, Buendia, Bailey, and Ramsey, and we knew that, as we have 7 joint top scorers this season at the moment, with 7 players and 1 goal. And do I have one more? I do. Lastly, Ivan Toney has scored 6 goals in his last 6 Premier League outings. 6 Premier League games, accounting for 75% of Brentford's goal totals in these matches. Overall, Tony has scored 30% of the Bees Premier League goals, the highest percentage of any player for a team in the competition. So there you go. There's your tactic. Keep Tony quiet, and you always have a chance. So there are just some statistics on it. I would imagine we do have a team sheet has been released. I am just opening up Twitter at the moment, so do bear with me. I'm running about 5 minutes behind everybody at the moment because as I say, I am hungover. So bear with me. That is Stato Corner. Once again, thank you to AVFC Stato, and we'll be back with more statistics. Now, we also have a team alert. I just love those. So I might as well use them since I have the ability to do so. But it would be handy if I was able to share my screen, and my screen is shared. So the starting 11. Whoa! Some people would be right in asking, who the hell is that in our in the on the team sheet lineup? You know, who is that in that picture? Missing persons list, is it? Because it looks like Leander Dendoncker is in there with Martinez in goals as captain. Matty Cash, Konza Mings, and Ashley Young. Dendoncker and Douglas Luiz looking to be playing in what looks like a 2-man pivot. Oh, am I so excited to see that? With Bailey, Buendia, and Watkins behind Ings. It's finally happening, guys. It's finally happening. 4-2-3-1. It's finally happening. Let's see if it works. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. Jesus, I can barely see 2 foot in front of me, never mind into the future at this stage. But you have to say that when they talk about ripping up the rule book, this kind of looks like it, and the leaks last night from Aaron Danks were, and they do look to be bang on the money. I will get your comments in a moment. As I say, I am just running a bit behind myself at this moment in time, so we will get your comments. Where are they? I'm going to stop sharing the screen here, but before we do that, I do want to look at the Brentford team. So once again, I usually have these lined up. The Brentford team is out. We have Rhea Rorslev, who scored against us in last year's tie. We have Ayer, Zanka, Pinnock, Henry, Janlet, and Onyeka holding down the fort in midfield, with Jensen, Mbuemo, and Tony as well, lining out or making up the rest of their lineup there. I forgot to mention the Aston Villa substitutes. The Aston Villa substitutes there, guys, we have Olsen, McGinn, Sanson, Chambers, Nakamba, Bednarak, Coutinho, Archer, and Jacob Ramsey make up the subs bench for Aston Villa. And yeah, as I say, it's an exciting-ish lineup. It's a different lineup, and I think, you know, we're all, well, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I personally wanted to see something a small bit different, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We've seen a different change today, and instead of just changing the front three, it looks like we've changed formation, and that double pivot is going to be on show today with Dendoncker and Douglas Luiz. Wow, 56 comments. Let's try and get through this. Apologies if I don't get your comment. I will, as I say, pop a couple of these up on the screen. The McBee says trepidation and reservation are the watchwords for my approach to this one. We won't become world beaters overnight. I absolutely agree. Barry says that Bailey can't start. He must not start with. He is. That was before the team came out, I imagine. But yeah, he does start, and I suppose we will see what he brings in this new system. The Diva says, Diavo, sorry, says we've benched John McGinn, Superman John McGinn. I think most fans would understand. He was Stevie G's chum. Now he's sitting on his bum. We've benched Super John McGinn. I don't think that one's going to be sung from the whole end, but I love it. Top marks for effort. I would definitely say there. Michael says, agree on the leaks. This should not happen, but if true, it would be a player that did this. I'd have to imagine so. It would be a player or somebody close to a player. But look, as I say, it kind of it is what it is now. Um, where are we? Yeah, this is true. Filthy Danimal says looks like a 4-4-2. It could be a 4-4-2. I'm just not sure that Buendia would play as a wide player in that formation. It could actually be a 4-4-2. I'm not sure whether we have enough pace or enough. I don't know if we've enough in midfield to play a two-man midfield there, but it could be, as I say, just like it was with Steven Gerrard. We will know 10 minutes into this game what way we set up. But for me, it looks like a 4-2-3-1. I don't think you played Dundonker in a two-man midfield with Douglas Luiz, but as I say, it could very well be the situation that's what's happening. Where else are we? Nicholas, great to have you. On my walk to the ground, listening in is my match day routine, hoping for something different at the very least. Well, hopefully this is music to your ears to see something different on the screen there with the new players or the players that have come in and what looks to be a tweak in formation. Connor, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. He says, Neil, huge fan. Thanks for all you do, regardless of how we feel about changes. Do you agree it's a worrying sign that the team is getting leaked? Yeah, I mentioned that previously. I think it probably goes to show about ill discipline somewhere, whether it's people in the backroom squad, whether it maybe came from somebody who was previously at the club before that knew about stuff like this that was going to happen, was in conversation with the current management structure that's there, or whether it was one of the players that leaked it. I think there's just I think it doesn't. While it doesn't make a massive difference in this instance, I think that I just don't think it's a great. It helps anybody other than the person who leaked it. So yeah, I think that the club would think dimly of that for sure, and I think dimly of it as well. Where else are we? Jonathan says, glad to see Douglas Luiz's red card was removed. Correct decision. I think so too. I think it was. Look, you shouldn't give the referee an opportunity to make the decision, but like, what are we doing really? When stuff like that is a red card, it wasn't clear and obvious. The referee had made his decision. VAR turned around and essentially badgered him into changing his decision, and he didn't give a red card. And then the independent panel then rescinds that as well. Doesn't help us. It was a fulcrum point. While I don't think we were ever going to win that game because we were being battered by Fulham, and that's not a detraction. I do think it was a fulcrum point in the game because we certainly never looked like we were going to get anything out of the game after that. One can always go in off somebody's backside, when you've got 11 versus 11, even playing as poorly as we were. But when Douglas Luiz was off, it was very much backs to the wall. It was almost 50-50 in the possession stakes before Douglas Luiz went off, and I think we finished up with 31% possession at the end of the game. So it just goes to show how the swings and roundabouts of the red card happened. I'm getting a message here from Paddy. I'm getting a message here from Paddy. We'll try and get him on there. We'll see what the crack is. Paddy, my old mucker. Let's see if we can get him on, because I'm running out of steam already and I'm only on for 13 minutes. Not like me to run out of steam. But if you had seen the night I put down last night, you'd understand. Paddy, I know you very nearly said Paddy's email address out live on the screen right there. That wouldn't have gone down well. I don't, he does love everyone. So Paddy, if you're watching, there you go. The link is gone to you. Link is gone to you now. More comments there. I'm just going to scroll down a small bit there. Am I muted? Who have I muted? Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, my Twitter is open there. Who have I muted? I'm not going to, for fear that I offend anybody. I certainly won't be opening up that one to see who I have muted. If I do have somebody muted, it's most likely by mistake, because I'm an equal opportunities employer when it comes to Twitter accounts. So let me look. Oh, it's Paddy. It's Paddy that I've muted. So yeah, don't tell him I said that. Okay, don't tell him I said that. Where are we? If I was so Mike says if I was to bet the link came from somebody from the academy who got pulled in to help Thanks this week, it would be chaotic for them and it is new and it would be very vulnerable if approached. Potentially, I'd say more likely it's probably just came from a player. I'd say more than likely came from a player. something along those lines. But it could come from anyone, as I say, and I'm not too worried about the information that was leaked. I'm more worried about the fact that it just paints the picture of ill discipline, I suppose. Luke's lips, shink sips, isn't that? Sink ships, even. Isn't that what the phrase is? Don't try that after 14 pints of Guinness. Do not try that after 14 pints of Guinness. Where else are we here? TJ says, just hope we can pick up a point. Need to keep our head above the relegation zone until the new manager is in place. I agree. Nottingham Forest winning yesterday in the most unlikely of circumstances really threw a spanner in the works for us. We now have 3 teams on 9 points from 19th to 17th, and we need to extricate ourselves from the end of that table very, very soon, because it ain't fun being down there. And as I say, we don't exactly have the most winnable games coming up. Today, a win today or a point today would be huge. I would put today's down in the must not lose category. As I say, we're not going to turn to world beaters overnight, as one of the comments we showed previously said, and I 100% agree with that as well. Where else are we there, guys? Dan Lane asks, do we have a new vice captain? Who was the third captain? It was 3. Oh, it was Diego Carlos, wasn't it? It was John McGinn, Emi Martinez, and Diego Carlos. I wonder who the fourth. I would imagine if for whatever reason Martinez has to give over the armband, it probably goes to Ashley Young, Tyrone Mings, I would imagine. Hopefully we don't need to worry about it. We don't need to worry about anything like that. So we'll see it. Stu Greenhouse, the incoming manager of Aston Villa, is watching the podcast. Stu, delighted to have you. I hope you're keeping well over in Azerbaijan, and those 12 promotions in a row have been greeted with the adulation that you deserve. Looking forward to seeing you on the touchline for Aston Villa in the coming days and weeks. Hit me up in the DMs if you ever want to come on, Stu Greenhouse, because we need these real progressive managerial minds of the likes of Stu Greenhouse, and what a manager he is. And as I say, we can only wish that he becomes manager of Aston Villa. I might do a podcast actually breaking down the pluses and minuses of Stu Greenhouse, because as we know, we would be ever so lucky to have him as a fantastic manager. So thank you so much for tuning into the podcast, Stu. Simon Haswell says 14 points. I said it and I was kind of thinking back and I was going, did I? And then I was thinking, I probably came close to it, but I don't think I'll ever be doing that again in my lifetime. That's for sure. Father Time is undefeated. And yes, Noel, I do look like I am hanging. I can confirm those rumors that there has been a leak that I am hungover today. But look, as I say, we move, we go, the match is on, and we're never going to miss it for love nor money. And nothing, self-inflicted wounds like that would never slow me down. Where else are we here? Yes, I did say that Ashley Young is club captain, whatever that means. Was he announced club captain? I seem to remember something about Ashley Young, all right, being announced something or other to do with the leadership and the captaincy stakes. But yeah, it does ring a bell. I would imagine he'd be the next man. Himself or Tyrone Mings would be the next man to get the armband. Anyway, look, your goalkeeper is captain. That tonight or today, that's going to that's not going to make much of a difference. As I say, he is what he is, and hopefully, he doesn't need to move the armband over to anybody at all. Paddy is just after jumping on there, guys. We're going to see if we can get him on. I can see even in the green room that he has a very, very choppy internet connection, but we'll see if we can go live outside Villa Park with Patrick Kelly. Paddy, how are things? Oh, it's lovely weather over there in Birmingham. It's absolutely perfect here in Ireland.
It might be lovely weather in Birmingham, but the roads are flooded.
Oh, there we go. Well, that was great from Paddy. We got at least one sentence out of Paddy there before he froze. So I'm going to take him down off the screen once more. Internet connection in around Birmingham might actually be the worst in the developed world. As always, anybody who's been to Villa Park will know reception in and around Villa Park is like gold dust, and Paddy's fallen victim of that again. If we can get him back on again, if I can see his stream start to move, or if he gets decent reception anywhere, I will get him back on. But look, what insight from Paddy. As I say, what he said cannot be faulted. It's 100% true. You got it from the horse's mouth. There is floods in the roads in Birmingham, and as I say, we're lucky to have that information live on the ground from our boots on the ground in Paddy Kelly. Excellent. So, guys, Paddy's after joining a second time. Wow. That's interesting. I don't know what's going on here. If I can get him back on, I will. If not, we'll take the opportunity maybe to finish up a small bit earlier. But Paddy is back. Let's see if we can get a better connection this time. Paddy, can you hear me better this time?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
Brilliant. Excellent. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. There's Stephen in the background. Hello, Stephen. In the
Say hello,
background.
Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
how-
So,
we
what's it looking like over there?
well, I think everybody's a bit perplexed by the team announcement. There was obviously a few rumours, which means there's a link in the camp, or a leak in the camp, I should
Yeah.
say. So everyone's a little bit worried. Don't know what to expect. Don't know what way we're gonna be set out, and that's just the worry now. So, but sure, look, I'm here now. I've left a few people in the pub, said see you at half time. That's what they've said, not me.
I'll go ahead.
So everybody is a little bit worried to what will happen. So, look, what can we do? It's a strange situation to be in between managers, but to make such a change, Jesus, like two very influential players dropped from the team. Some people would argue that McGinn should be dropped. Very few people would argue that JJ should be dropped. So it'll be interesting to see how he lays them out now in whatever it is, over to
45
less than an
minutes
hour
time.
now. So
Yeah.
So
Paddy,
just left the
you've been
Sacred Heart.
I know, and you've been spotted. Nicky Adams just said it was Paddy I just saw coming out of the Sacred Heart. I confirm today the internet is terrible. So Nicky spotted you. You were spotted on the way out of the Sacred Heart. So that's
Nicky, you
great.
should have said hello. You should have said
Should
hello.
have said hello, exactly. And Michael Huggins wants to know, are you on
Yeah.
Whitehead Road? This is gold podcast. This one should be nominated for an award.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I don't know what road I'm on, but all these houses look the same as far as I'm concerned.
And they're all
as
lovely
Stephen
houses.
tries to jump out of the way of the podcast.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of debate here as opposed to what the formation is going to be today, whether it's 4-4-2 or it's going to be 4-2-3-1. I think it's going to be 4-2-3-1 with Dendoncker and Louise double pivot in front of the defense.
I
But
agree.
obviously, look, as I say, I
Yeah.
could be convinced it's a 4-4-2 as well, obviously, because we have two strikers on the field. I could be convinced that that's the situation as well. But you know yourself, we'll know once the game kicks off. But I just don't think I would be a bit surprised if Dendoncker and Luis played in a two-man midfield on their own and we went with straight wingers like that against Brentford, because it's just a recipe to be overrun with their passing machine that they have in midfield. But look, as I say, let's see what happens in 43 minutes time now. Have we lost you again, Paddy? Yeah, we're gone. Paddy's gone again. Oh, he might be back. He's back.
Am I back?
Back? Yeah. You're back.
Why do we have so much poor Wi-Fi and internet coverage around our stadium? I'm not even anywhere near Villa Park at this stage.
Yeah. You're on the way. Luca Perry just said he saw that you've been spotted doing a little jig in the corner of Blackmore Avenue.
I nearly got run down recording a podcast. So
well, that would be I'm glad that your video is frozen, so because I certainly wouldn't have liked to be able to see your demise and to be live streaming it across to the world, across to 486 people watching. Everybody, thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up if you do so like the podcast. I really appreciate that. But yeah, you are you've been spotted on Blackmore Avenue. Apparently, this is great. This is like Manhunt. People are trying to hunt Paddy down as he walks the streets of Birmingham. Don't use your ATM, Paddy.
A whole generation of people are going to miss this, but you remember Annika Rice?
Yes, I just about remember Annika
You're too young
Rice. Yeah.
too, aren't you? Remember
I'm
Rice,
too young. Yeah, I'm too young for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But once again,
look,
guys, this is podcast
I don't know
gold.
when I'm going to get cut off here. So the general consensus is that people are worried. People don't know how this is going to pan out. Everybody is anticipating a 4-2-3-1. The one thing is everybody is a little bit more buoyant.
Hello, you still there, Paddy? Can you hear us? No, I think we've lost him for good this time. But I think what he was saying there, that everybody's a small bit more buoyant, but everybody's kind of trepidatious with regards to watching and trying to see what's going to pan out in this game. I think Paddy was right there. Well, Paddy said there that a couple of people were saying maybe see you at half time, because there's a kind of a feeling that while we are expectant and hoping that the new manager comes in pretty soon, that nobody really knows what to make of this game. And it could be something whereby at half time that we still don't see the fruits on the field. And that's, I wouldn't think that is, I suppose, a wild take to have at all, considering the fact that, you've only got 2 days to turn things around. Essentially, one day really, because one of those days is going to be warm down and recovery day. So you've only really got the Friday or the Saturday to kind of implement any game strategies. And once again, obviously changing the squad. It's interesting to see from some of the comments there that some people don't agree with John McGinn being dropped. And as I say, I the only way that I suppose we can be fully sure of what the story is, whether McGinn should have been dropped or not, is if we see changes on the field and if we see a better performance. At this moment in time, I think you have to try something. And look, as I say, I know it's really strange for a team to drop their captain, but and specifically when we've got no manager, and it does kind of throw out that kind of I don't want to say it throws out this kind of club in crisis kind of mode. I don't think it does, but I think it could be spun that way, if that's what I mean. If you know what I mean, should I say? But look, as I say, it could ram it down everybody's throats, my throat as well. And the next thing, Leander Dundonker comes out and gives a man a match performance and a 2-man pivot in front of the defence today. We just don't know, as I say, we just don't know. And but we will know in roughly about 40 minutes time. As I say, Aaron Danks is, he's shot. He's not going to get a chance to sit in the touchline. I'd be a manager of Aston Villa, I would say, for many games. Probably this would be his only game, I would imagine, that we would see a manager come in next week. And he's decided, listen, I don't want to be in here. I don't want to be a placeholder manager and just do what was being done previously. I'm going to go in and set up the team how I feel it should be set up. And you gotta kind of look at him and say, fair play to you. You're backing yourself. You're backing what you've seen on the field. And look, he might be vindicated at the end. He might be ridiculed at the end. But as I said, time will tell, and none of us have a crystal ball with regards to this. But I suppose, look, I'm looking forward to seeing something different on the field, even if it's a different formation. And that could be something that sparks this club back into life prior to the new manager coming in. But as I said, we won't know until we see it on the pitch, for sure. All right, guys, I think I am going to leave it at that. We've got roughly about 38 minutes before kickoff. I can see Paddy is kind of back there again, but he's stuttering, so I'm not going to bring him back on again, because the internet looks to be still pretty poor in that area. But thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We've 500 people watching at the moment. Thumbs up would be really appreciated. And also, if you aren't subscribed to the podcast, please think about subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and we have a bit of crack. And if nothing else, you get live weather forecast from Villa Park from the wonderful and eminent Paddy Kelly as well from time to time. So thanks very much to everybody. Sit down, watch the game. If you're going to the game, cheer on the team, and hopefully Villa get the result today. But most of all, stay safe, stay healthy, and up the Villa.